And they made it very clear that if I did not come in, that would have been it for me. Hey there, Christina M. Hooper here. And you know what? God called. He called me, and I am answering. So let's talk about it today. All right, so let me just take a few steps back because I really got to dive it all the way back. If you've been following me on this channel, you know that I'm really big on working from home and finding alternative ways in living this thing we call life. And I'm pretty sure we've seen the wave of all the things that have made it easier for us to work our own businesses or find new ways to bring in income. And especially after the shutdown period that there was, and people finding new ways to live this life. And but a lot has happened, a lot has transpired over these years, and we have seen things that are unexplainable, that are like we can't even believe is happening in our lifetime today. And I felt like my space was where I'm at home, and I started to pull back from being on YouTube and providing different tips and resources, which I'll still do. I'm actually going to be becoming more consistent doing that. So FYI, those videos will still be available here on this channel if you are building your own work from home business. But this is an important call that he gave me. So let me just tell you how it happened. That's probably the best way to start, right? So after the whole chaos of, I'm just going to call it shutdown, we kind of know what transpired, and everybody had to, choose, take the pill or don't take the pill, right? We'll just call it that. So I chose to go ahead and do it. As a family, we decided, what, because we realized that there were starting to be harsh choices, people were losing their jobs because they didn't. And we said, what, let's just do it. Oh, the story. So it transpired, it happened. And after that is when I did fall ill, and I ended up having issues. Like I mentioned, I was going out for gifts for my husband's birthday, and I couldn't breathe. And then I called on the video call, and the doctor said, go into emergency right away. And so I went, and I just remember them rushing because while, right, you can't breathe, chest pain, struggle. Like I literally stood up off of my bed to walk to the closet. And if you can see, like, there's my bed, there's the closet. And I was gasping, like, just imagine, right? It just seems unbelievable. And so what I ended up doing was I went in, and they instantly asked me if I had issues with blood clots. And I'm like, no. Like, out of all of the things that I've experienced, which we're going to talk about in another video, in regards to my health, which, if anybody knows me, I have, practically been plagued with issues, of medical issues, which, everything is coming out into the open this year. And so, but this was different. And so I ended up going to emergency surgery. And they made it very clear that if I did not come in, that would have been it for me. They pulled out dozens of blood clots. My heart started to go into failure, heart failure on one side of, and I remember waking up out of that surgery and seeing the trays with the rows of endless blood clots, this long, just rows that they pulled out to save my life. And I'm just so grateful, and I thank God so much for saving me in that moment. But here's the thing. That wasn't the wake-up call, was it? No, it wasn't. Because why? We're stubborn people. And the reality is that, we choose to still not do what God has called us to do. And then it's got to be within a week after this transpired that I was asleep. And after that, having that happen, my heart was still sore. I was seeing a cardiologist, and it's like, you're going to feel that, like it just felt like this soreness that I was having. And I remember, I will never forget this night was the night that I felt something has changed. Now, to give you just a little bit more backstory, since me and my husband have been married, I've always told him that, I felt like I was saying, you need to prepare. You need to be ready. You need to be financially ready, physically ready, like all the things you need to be ready. And I didn't know what it meant. It was always in my spirit, like, you need to get ready. And it's like, get ready for what? Like, I don't know what I need to get ready for, but I just need to be ready. And so, over the years, I would bring it up and just, always tell, my husband, like, and I'm thinking that it's this business that I'm trying to create is me trying to get ready. And that's not what it was. And this night, I remember, and it was as if I wasn't even asleep. I woke up, or at least in this dream, I woke up, and I was going to go. Someone said, go check on my daughter. So I went. Her room is right across from mine, and so I walked over, and the entire back of the house was just gone. Like, it was like you just walked out. Her room was there, but then the roof. And it was like almost just cut out, and everything was just like the whole back of the house was just gone. And so I'm like in awe. And then there was just this light, this huge radiant light. And it was just so bright. And I just felt like that there was this storm coming. Like, I just felt it. And I'm like, oh, and I just, this sense of just fear just started to just well up in me. And even at this moment, I'm thinking, like, where's Buttercup? Like, where's my daughter? But at the same time, I'm sitting here, and this fear is like revving up, and I'm just like, well, she's not here. And then I start to walk off to the edge, like, it's almost felt like a cliff, the way that the house was just gone, and there was just this light, and then I could just feel, and I could just hear the lightning just coming. And I walked out, and then I just stood there, and I was like, this is just it. Like, it, like, my time is up. Like, that's pretty much how I felt. And I just felt like in that moment, there was nothing that I could do about it. And I stood there, and then I just heard the storm just coming in. And then the light just started to get brighter. And then I closed my eyes for impact. Like I just literally closed my eyes for impact. Like, I remember when I almost ended up in a car accident, or I was in a car accident quite a few years ago. And I remember spinning out on a freeway, and I remember just grabbing the steering wheel and just bracing for impact. And that's literally what I was doing in that moment. And then it surge just came, and it was just like coming really heavy. And I was just like, oh, Lord Jesus. And then it just, all of a sudden, it just kind of came quickly. And then it sat here for a minute. And then I just felt this warmth and this peace. And it was almost as if, like, somebody was like, how that feeling of somebody like getting close to you, and like, you don't have to see that they're there, but you can just kind of like just feel it. That's what it was like. I was like feeling all of this energy just stop. And it was like this lightning that just came toward me and just stopped about like right here. And I could feel the heat on my skin. And it paused for like at least a few seconds. And I just felt this peace, and I just relaxed, like, okay. And then this surge just like instantly just started just going right into my heart, just constantly. And then as soon, and it hadn't been going on for like, it seemed like forever, the way it was just like, just this impact, like this surge of energy that was just like going into my heart. And I remember lifting up out of the bed, waking up, like gasping for that breath, right? And for me, I felt like I had no words. And to this moment, I still have no words. It was something that I had never experienced in my entire life. I have had dreams in the past where, like of things that, of people, of things, and then those things being a reality. I'm not a dreamer. I'm not somebody who just dreams all the time. I have not had a dream since then. And I wasn't having dreams before then, except for when I was pregnant. I'm I'm not a person that just remembers all of their dreams or have dreams and they just always come to me. These are things. This was something that, like, a dream that I had that happened. I didn't have a dream before that, and I didn't have a dream after that. Like, that was just it. Now this was a couple of months ago, and at that moment is when I really started to take account of my life and the decisions that I make and the choices that I make. You know, like, I've always said that I was a Christian, like, you know, like, but that being conscientious of that and actually just kind of playing along in this role. And I can tell you that my life has been crippled majority of my life. And the time that it was when I was not walking with him. My family had walked away from the church back when I was about 15, 16 years old. A lot of people that know me know that I was on fire for him, even in high school. I remember, work with a really close friend then. We started the very first Bible study group, and we would meet on Wednesdays, just dedicated. That fire. If anybody's, have had that experience of really connecting and, being saved, and you get on fire for God, it was just like this energy and this jolt to just, I've got to tell everybody, I got to tell the good news. I've got to do right and make all these great decisions. And then after a while, it just starts to dwindle and life just starts to happen. And, and people say, like, oh, we're living in the last days. And, and now there's just this sense of urgency. But then it was like, but then these things start to die down. And then you just go to work every day like a zombie, and you go to work, and then you're back to your old ways. Then, God saying don't do that doesn't really matter anymore. It doesn't really mean anything. But I can tell you that the choices and the decisions that we've made up until this point as Christians has opened up opportunities for us to be in dire need and in circumstance. Like, I come to realize I'm sitting here and I'm thinking everything that I do is dependent on somebody else telling me that this is okay. Eat this because this is what they say it's okay. Take this because this is okay. Do this, like, you're just falling in line. And it's like, I'm not using my head. I'm not doing research, do my due diligence, and there's so many churches that out here that are teaching the word. I grew up in the church, and it's just so much peace to find there. But then we find that now there's just so much corruption and it's just not the way it used to be. Like, I mean, I remember, like, going to, Bible study when I was a kid and diving into the scriptures and knowing that, like, this is his living word. And as I did, I started to get closer and hear him. And now I find evidence in my life and the things that he's done for me, so that nobody can tell me that this is not real, because I've lived it, and now we've come so far away from that. We've come so far away from him. And the reality is that right now, for me, he's called me to dedicate my life to him, live for him, not because it's hot right now and everybody's talking about, like, this is the last days, but because it's the right thing to do. I think about when I talk about, like, creating these courses, because I talk a lot about creating and building out these courses. And I'm like, what? We're starting this business, this work from home business. But you start small and just, and you reach that goal and you just keep working at it. You keep working at it, and you know what I'm saying? And then it progress, and you'll get, you'll reach your goal, and it's like, stay with the basics, like, don't overcomplicate, things. And, and I feel like we've done that as Christians. It's like, I feel like we've overcomplicated what the mission is. Like, why are we here? What is our purpose, right? To glorify him, to be fruitful and multiply and subdue, right? And yet we're finding ourselves just tearing up stuff and destroying things, and, not loving our neighbor, not showing any respect to them, whether they believe in God or not, or whatever we believe or not. And we're just, like, trotting along and not doing what he would have us to do. But if we pull back the layers and we really think about what it is that we're supposed to do, is we're supposed to have these thriving families and continue to express and share his love from generation to generation. And we're supposed to get up and tell everybody that we know who he is, and that he in the good news. That's it. The good news. He gave us one mission. One mission. And if we incorporate that within what we do every day, and we listen and we spend time with him, we have a relationship, an actual relationship with him, instead of trying to find causes as to why we shouldn't, I can tell you that since that experience that I had, food never tasted the same anymore. Things started happening to me that are unexplainable. I just started to just lose weight. Everything was him talking to me when it came to validation and how. Like, so it's like, how do you know that it was him that was talking to you? Because I would hear it here, and then somebody would validate it over here that wasn't even associated with the other, where I would ask a question and it would be instantly answered, and I'm not even verbalizing it. The reality is that we all do, like his scripture says, that we do all know good and evil and right and wrong in our heart. We choose, it's our choice to listen. Well, I am listening. And so you're going to find that I'm going to be spending more time talking about him and why everything that we do, because there is a real evil out there, and it has uprooted and disrupted my life and has put me in the hospital majority of my life since I was 18 years old. And I trust God. And that's who we should be putting our trust in. That's what his word says. And that's what I choose to do. And that is why I have decided that I am going to wrap everything that I do in him. So I'm excited. I'm super excited. And I have to tell you, like, I have gotten to the point where it was like, today is the day after Thanksgiving, the day before I turn, to my 39th birthday, the day where my pain isn't as painful as it usually is, which we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to be able to share a lot more with you, but I wanted to make sure that, I gave pause and gave people an opportunity to know, what is building and what is developing here. And this is a space of respect, and not to force or push anything on anyone. And I am very, and I love what he's given me the ability to do, is to share. I'm a technical person. I love design. I love being able to share tips and resources for people, and that's what I want to do. But I'm not going to do anything without making sure that God is acknowledged first. And that's because as Christians, we live in this world, but not of this world. And so I am dubbing this space. I am putting the lamb's blood into my space here on my channel. And so I want to make sure to welcome those, and no judgment or anything here, and definitely no disrespect. And if there's anything that you don't agree with, you are free to unsubscribe. But I love you anyway. And I was able to tell you. So the good news. And the good news is that Christ did die for our sins. And he did raise from the dead so that we may have life. And it's nothing but the grace of God that we are here. And there are a lot of people that are standing up. And I just want to put my hat in the ring, because I am also one of those that God has spoken to. And so I love all of you who do follow and support me, and those that decide to stick around. And it may seem a little, everything will be more open and revealed as we go, because honestly, I am literally unscripted, going through this and just listening to what God would have me to say, because I don't want to say anything that would be, disrespectful or not be what God would have me to say. But he told me to come up here and share my story and start there, and that's where I'm at. So if you want faith, you want to talk about God, you want to talk about what I'm learning and what I am doing in my household, in my life, to unpack the chaos of this world and start incorporating him in it, then stick around. I also started a podcast with my husband, so we will be doing a podcast each week, the couples discussion. So I will be putting a link to that as well. The second episode is now available, and I'm excited. I'm super excited to meet and connect with you. And let me know in the comments, have you experienced this? Have you felt like God has been calling you and has been saying, look, now is the time. You need to speak up. You need to tell your testimony. You need to get out and share the good news. And if he's been calling you as well, or if this has been your call to stand up, and I would love to hear it in the comments. But I am so glad to have you here, and I cannot wait to go on this journey with you. And make sure to, again, put in the comments and let me know if there's anything that God is speaking to you about. If he is having you to stand up in your community and connect. I'm going to be also sharing where God is leading me and who he has led me to listen to, and who not to listen to. So I'll be getting into all those different things, and I'll be providing all the resources I use when I study. I get up in the morning and I study every morning and spend time with him. If you want me to unpack what I am learning, I will be happy to do that. So just put it in the comments and let me know. It's an exciting time, because God says to not fear, and we are to be the light of the world, and that is what I'm choosing to do on my channel. And I cannot wait to see you in another video. Bye bye.